Don't know what these are. I think they're hose clamp pliers. Old school. I think there's a name there, but I really can't see it. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the rust remover, and I'm hoping I can get this nut off. And so these are just so hard to put back together when I take them apart. But anyways, I'm gonna set it in that homemade rust remover and then clean them up, make them look nice. Every once in a while, we still run across some old school hose clamp style, and I think that's what these are. I think. That's what I'm gonna use them for anyways. I think I got a quarter in these. I think I bought these for a quarter. So hard to beat for a quarter. They still work. I mean, they move. It's just they're rusty. And they're old school. With this vacuum grip, I'd almost say they might be snap-on. Maybe. I don't know. I'll clean them up and see what they look like. All right, I got these pliers. I guess they're for hose clamps out of the rust remover and rinsed them off. The rust remover turns it black, the rust that's on there. Now we'll just go to the wire wheel. We got a brass coated wire wheel. I don't know why. Oh, it's snap-on. Check that, vacuum grip. Look at there. Cool. And they don't use that style of hose clamp very often anymore, but you still find them, especially on some old mowers and some pump housing, things like that. Well, let's go to the wire wheel and give it a once over and see what it looks like. All right, cleaned them up, look pretty good, just off the wire wheel. Could leave them like that, I think, but I'm gonna go to the gray wheel. And here, I'll show you. What's left, I'm trying to use all this gray wheel up. It's like Scotch-Brite. Matter of fact, here's a big one, a new one. Trying to use this old one up. I don't know what grit. Every one of them I find is 180 grit, but I think this was 360 or 400 when I bought it, but I lost the paperwork, so I don't know. I'm using it. Now all I'm going to do is run it over to 2000 grit wheel. Oh, wait a minute. That's the flapper wheel. Hang on. I forgot I moved it. I'm trying to use up the flapper wheel and the 2000 grit wheel. The other motor is too big. It interferes, gets in the way. Now I'm just going to dry buff it, just run it over a dry wheel and buff it. Alright, cleaned them up the best I'm going to get. Now I'm going to throw a little wax on them and call it good. Probably shouldn't. The wax. Sometimes the wax it cleans the black polishing compound if there's any compound on it. But sometimes the wax will dull it just a little bit. If it does, I'll throw it in on the dry buff pad. Especially if it's pitted real bad. It's mother's wax. That's the only thing I use. It's a cleaner wax. That's why I like it. Not bad for an old rusty pair of pliers. And I'm trying to remember where I got these. I had it in a pile of a bunch of other pliers, and I think I bought these through an estate sale, I think. If I did, then I have less than 50 cents in these. I cleaned the screw up and the bolt and run it over the little fiber wheel just to make sure it's good and clean. I'm thinking these are newer. These are made in probably the 60s. I think the oldest one I've seen was like 1961 or something like that. And the reason I say that, it's got a nylon nut. It's got a nylon locking nut. Yeah, that's about perfect right there. All right. I'll show you what I got here. It's a snap-on, and I think it says it's a vacuum grip H, Henry, Charlie, Paul, 48, A as an apple, LSA. I don't know what Lincoln Sam Adder means, but... And you can see, if you look real closely, you can see the light pitting. I mean, it's ever slight. You can see a little bit. Now, I say that's pitting. I'm pretty sure that's pitting. It could be in the material, the way it was. I don't think so. I think it's pitted. But not bad for a safe. I got less than $1, say 50 cents. They're hose clamp pliers, which I like. And it's one of the snap-on vacuum grip, which goes with the others I got. Check this out. Well, what'd I do with them? Hang on. I got a vacuum grip cutters, and the reason they call them vacuum grip was because of some of them had, the newer ones had a couple of rows, And these were supposed to give you better grip, the little indentations. I really didn't, but that's what they sold it as. And I'm thinking the older ones had, like this pair of needle nose, this is an older pair. This is probably one of the best pair of needle nose pliers I've got. I love these things. And I think they were pitted really bad, and I cleaned the nose up and made it more sharper. These things are excellent. Now these might be dated back to 1930s, 1940s. I'm pretty sure this is older. The newer ones, like the vacuum grip pliers, hose clamp pliers, if you look, these have the extra dent, extra holes in it. But I think these are newer, both of these. Well, I say newer. 1960s, 1950s, 1960s. I think the needle nose are even older. But there you go, cheap tool. If you find any with embellishment on the handles, I guarantee you it's 50, 60 years old. A lot of your companies had them, had different type of embellishment on the handles, supposedly, because back then they didn't have any rubber grips and things like that. They didn't come out with that till later in the like 1960s, 1970s. They started coming out with handles coated. But anyways, doesn't matter. Cheap tool, brought back to a usable condition. Still usable. I know some of the clamps are a little different now. They don't use this style of clamp as often, but you still find them. I can show you a bunch of pump motors that have them. Irrigation pumps. I can show you some well pump sites that have some of these type of clamps on them. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you have wasted your time? I think I did a pretty good job. It's not perfect, but I didn't care for perfection. I just wanted a good usable tool. And I didn't want to spend hours. You could literally take a fiber wheel and sand these down. You could go to different grits, and I could polish it back to better than brand new. There's no need in it. I don't do trophy tools. I use working tools. My tools are used. So, cleaned, usable tool like this is fine for me. I just don't like rusty tools. And something like this, I'll use it, wipe it down, put it back in my toolbox, and it's good for another decade or 2 or 3 or 5. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe if you like. Hope you like my video. Tell me what you think. Y'all have a good day.